It's Paul Duvall with Stelligent. In this screencast, I'll be going over post 2 of 2 on AWS CodeBuild. In the first post on the APN blog, we went over the concepts and constructs and a how-to on using AWS CodeBuild, which was announced at AWS reInvent. And so AWS CodeBuild is a completely managed service for building your software, running unit tests, and so on. And it supports multiple languages. And so, again, in this one, I'll be going over the complete automation of not just AWS CodeBuild, but also AWS CodeDeploy, CodeCommit, and CodePipeline. And so it's going to run through a complete pipeline from committing your code into your Git repository and then actually deploying it out to production if you choose to do so. And so in the first post, we went over the manual setup of using CodeBuild. And so I'll just briefly go over that just so you have a good idea of how it works using the CodeBuild console. And so I'll give it a name. And I'll choose AWS CodeCommit as my repository. And I will choose a specific repository. I'm going to have it managed by CodeBuild. And then I'm going to, because it is a Java sample application, and the sample application is based off of one of the AWS's sample applications for Java. And so then I have a specific version. Then I use a build spec file. And so we talked about this in our introduction to AWS CodeBuild, is that you can run the commands. I could insert build commands right from the console. But I can also use something known as a build spec file. And this is the build spec file that it's running. And there's lots of ways that you can use this. And this is a pretty simple example, but really gives you the idea, or should give you an idea around this. So you have the different phases and what's going to happen in those phases. And so in this case, during the build phase, we're going to run an MVM package. And then we have some files that we're essentially zipping up and then deploying as a part of the build process. I'm going to have no artifacts here. And then it's going to create a service role, so hit continue, and I'm going to save. I'm going to choose a branch, and then I'm just going to click Start Build. And so it's going to run through the multiple build phases that we describe in our first post. You can see it's submitted, provisioning, downloads the source, installs, all the kind of steps that you might perform as a part of a build process. So in this screencast, I'm going to go over the automation of CodeBuild and all the other code services in CloudFormation. And so if you take a look at the post, this is the initial draft of the post, you can see that we describe how it gets used. But the key thing that I'll be going over here are the 3 key deployment steps. And so the first step is preparing your AWS account. So there's only 2 prerequisites for launching this solution. One is you have to have an AWS account. So if you haven't signed up for one, here are the instructions for doing that. And the second thing is you need to have a key pair. And so the instructions for the key pair are described right here. And so you could go down to key pairs and you create a new key pair. Since I already have one created, I won't need to do that. And so the way to launch this stack is by simply clicking the Launch Stack button. And it's going to open up the CloudFormation console, and it's going to use a file that's stored in AWS S3, the simple storage service. And I have a name that we included in the example, but you can call it whatever you want. Select a key pair that already exists. And then I'm going to just enter my email address, hit next. In the advanced, I'm just going to not roll back on failure so I can see what happened if anything does fail. And then I'll click create. And then shortly you're going to see that it's going to launch a CodeBuild pipeline stack. And it's going to start provisioning those resources. And one of the things that it does is it uses a stack that's based off, or uses a template, CloudFormation template based off of AWS for CodeDeploy, in which it launches an EC2 instance and then installs the CodeDeploy agent on it so it can deploy the software. So you'll see that a bit later. So while it's going through that, let's take a look at the CloudFormation template itself. This is just a brief overview, but you see some of the parameters that we just entered when we launched the stack. And then we have the resources, and so we have some CodeBuild, CodeDeploy, CodePipeline, IAM roles, and we're giving permissions for the various resources in our stack. And then we get down to the CodeBuild project resource, and we can see that it depends on a role, and we're given the CodeBuild project a unique name. We're just using the AWS stack name. That way we don't require any user input, but you can alter that if you want. Uses the CodeBuild service role, and then it defines the environment. We're using a Linux container. We're using small compute type along with the Java 8 image. And then we have a source location. Source location is dynamically generated from a CodeCommit repo that we actually create in the CloudFormation template. So we're referring to that here, and we're indicating it's a CodeCommit type. It times out in 10 minutes, and we add some specific tags. Here we're creating an SNS topic, which is used by CodeCommit. And then we launch the CodeDeploy EC2 instances stack, which we're just going to install, or we're going to launch an EC2 instance, and then it installs the CodeDeploy agent on it. Here we're creating the CodeCommit repository that the pipeline is going to use. We're using the SNS topic that we already created. And then we're creating basically an empty application, empty deployment group in AWS CodeDeploy in our CloudFormation template. That's going to be used later on to deploy the application within CodePipeline. And then we have the CodePipeline stack itself. So we're using the CodePipeline role, and we're defining stages and actions. And so we have a source stage, and in the source stage we're saying our provider's CodeCommit. It has an output artifact, so basically it takes the source assets, everything that's in CodeCommit, and then uses those source artifacts and stores them securely in S3. Then we have some configuration where we have the branch and the repository name that we've already created using the stack name. And then we go down to the build stage and build action. And here we're using AWS CodeBuild. You can see that as the provider. We're taking in the input artifacts from the previous stage, which is the source stage, and then we're building it, and then the output artifacts are now also stored in S3, and that's used in the next action or next stage. And so in our configuration, this is a key item here, that we have a project name, or we have a reference to that CodeBuild project that we defined earlier. And then last, we have a deploy stage, and then we have a demo fleet action. And we're using, our provider is CodeDeploy. So again, we're taking in input artifacts from the previous action, and it happens to be the previous stage, which is the build stage in action. And then we're using that to deploy the application. No output artifacts because it just deploys the application. But we're taking in the application name and deployment group name, which we defined previously. As I mentioned, it was basically sort of an empty deployment that we then use to build the build artifacts that we created in the upstream build process to deploy the application. Okay, so we go back to the CloudFormation console. We can see that our stack has successfully created along with the nested stack as well. And so we select the stack, and then we go to outputs, and then we find the CodePipeline URL. We'll click on that, and we can see, and this is described in the blog post, is that there's a failure. And the reason there's a failure is because there's nothing in, there's no master branch, there's nothing in the repo. And that's the reason that happened. Is because we created an empty CodeCommit repository. So we have to get some files in there. And so the way you do that is you can actually use one of the outputs, which is the clone URL, SSH, and you'll need to set up SSH locally, or you'll need to set up code config such that you can perform a git clone with the SSH. And that's actually described. There's a link in the blog post that describes that process. But for now, we're just going to take this. Okay, so in Finder, I find my CodeBuild stack. I'm going to get the actual source that I've been managing in GitHub, and I'm going to put this in my local repository. And then I'll go back to the command line and type add all files. I need to So I add all the files and then I commit them. And then I push that up to the CodeCommit repo. Okay, so I can also go to the CloudFormation output and I can click on the CodeCommit URL. And you can see that all the changes have been committed into this CodeCommit repo. And so if I go back to CodePipeline, it's always polling code commit or about once a minute or so. It's going to be polling the source repository, in this case, that code commit repo. And it's going to find that that it exists now. And so now it exists, it gets all the assets and pulls them down, puts them in S3, and uses it as an output artifact that gets consumed by the build process. So we're going to pause. It takes the overall run of the stack takes 7 minutes, and then this process itself takes on the order of 3 to 4 minutes or so to run. Okay, it successfully generated the source artifacts, and I can click right on the commit link here, and I can go right to the CodeCommit repo right off of CodePipeline. You'll be able to do that as it goes through the various actions and stages. You'll be able to do that for CodeBuild and CodeDeploy as well. Okay, so as it's going through the build action within the build stage, I can click on details, and then I can see the CodeBuild process going through its various phases that we saw that we had talked about before when we were manually setting up the CodeBuild project. But so now it's created the CodeBuild project, and now it's actually executing on that project, and all this is defined in code in CloudFormation. Now it's just executing that. Okay, so we can see that it's now gone through all the stages and actions that are defined in our deployment pipeline. So we can click on details, and we can select one of these instances. And then we can copy the URL. Then we can see that it launches the Java application on Tomcat. And we can make local changes, update those changes, and commit them to CodeCommit, and then it will run through this process again, just as we would in a commit to deployment lifecycle. So that's the walkthrough of our second of 2 posts on AWS CodeBuild. In this one, we went over the complete automation of CodeBuild along with CodeCommit and CodeDeploy using CloudFormation. So now you can define everything in code and then run through all the various processes that you define as a part of your deployment pipeline, so you can release software to users whenever there's a business reason to do so. So I'm Paul Duvall with Stelligent, and definitely stay tuned for more from us on these code services and AWS and DevOps, continuous delivery, and so on. Thanks a lot.